Um, Patrick meant a whole lot to me, and LJ does as well.
Yep.
And my son just graduated as a Marine sniper, and I have a Marine Corps hat on right now.
Yep.
Um,
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome,
That's
man.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Patrick meant the world to you.
no, and I named my
LJ.
first son
Yeah.
after Patrick and LJ.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
this is real. This is real life shit. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
they were both great friends to me, and they are. And I'm so proud of my son, and those two guys were big parts of my life.
1 2 1 2. All right, let's roll. Welcome,
You're listening to the Saddle Up Podcast,
where we discuss everything related to UTRGV athletics, past or present. We'll catch up with old teammates, friends, and take you down memory lane.
with exclusive interviews.
This is the Saddle Up Podcast, the voice of your covered walkway streets.
So dope.
This is gonna be awesome.
Stay tuned for new episodes every week.
From Bronx Village to the Field House, we'll cover it all.
Hell yeah, dude. Carpe diem.
So saddle up and let's go.
Let's go. Saddle up, partner.
What's up, G? But we wanted to kind of do
What's up, man?
wanted to do something a little different, right? And and with this week we've got LJ Harrington, who is the older brother of the late Patrick Harrington, who was me and G's coach in the late 90s, right? Shout out to Coach Harrington. But we also unfortunately have Jeff Rafferty back. And Jeff Rafferty, you are one of the only two people that have come back and returned as a guest. So kudos to you. We don't know how you accomplished that, but
Well, you said, I'm going to cut you off already. You said, unfortunately, to start the whole thing. Okay. And the only reason this podcast is still on is probably because of my episode. But continue, Matt.
We're gonna have to take a poll.
yeah, we're gonna do a poll on social media. So the
Like,
real start,
like I enjoyed Lon Kruger's episode the weekend before mine, in last October, but I got more hits and I thought mine was a little more entertaining, but continue.
the star of the show, LJ Harrington, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of it, lending your time. We are gracious for your presence. And we kind of want to go down memory lane like we do on all these shows, right? On all the episodes. And we want to tell stories. But obviously, you had a front row seat to Coach Harrington's life growing up as, a kid and as a teenager and a young adult and a man, and kind of dive into what Coach Harrington was like and how special he was, because all four of us know how he was, but I just want to share it to the world now.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on your show. I think it's absolutely terrific that you've put this together, and it shows the affinity that you have for your college. At one time, UT Pan Am. Since rebranded, obviously, but I'd be glad to give you a little background on Patrick and how he ended up coaching you guys back in the late 90s, I guess. Anyways, I'm up here in Boston, Massachusetts. Patrick and I grew up literally across the Charles River here over in Cambridge, and we were like typical of all of you guys that played sports. We tried to play everything that we could. We play hockey up here. You probably have never played that, but we did that up here. We also played lacrosse as kids, but eventually we honed in and found our way pretty exclusively into basketball, and that happened probably when we were in junior high school. So at going into high school, Patrick was a year, he's 18 months younger than I am, but for some reason we ended up being in the same class for a couple of years.
I know why. I
don't
know
want to
why.
dive into that.
Hell,
but
I know why. His
Uh,
mother kept him back 2 years, but
Exactly.
continue, El.
somebody rode the short bus. I'm not going to know who it is.
We now
We're not
call
telling.
we call it reclassifying now, but back then it was based on your academic performance. But so, anyways, we played high school basketball at a New England boarding school up here called Brooks School. I went there for 3 years. Patrick and I never attended the school together. We actually never played any formal basketball together, even though we were so close in age. We played basketball against each other and with each other in a variety of teams and leagues and things like that, but never formally in high school. He attended regional high school, Concord Carlisle High School, while I was going to Brooks. It just so happened that we were able to, after I graduated from Brooks, Patrick transferred in and played his junior and senior year at Brooks after reclassifying, naturally. The great part about our high school experience, basketball wise, was that we played on some, I don't know if they were great teams, but they were teams with really terrific records. And frankly, it really had all to do with the fact that there was a player who came from New York City, from Harlem, who came to Brooks for 4 years. I played with him for 2 years. Patrick played with him for 2 years, and during that 4-year reign, we as a school or as a team literally ran roughshod over pretty much all of the competition, with the exception of one team up here, who was our arch enemy. And so that
Who is that? Who is that, El?
Blair.
Because I grew up just
Okay, so this is all going to tie into to the Texas Pan Am experience, because the gentleman I'm talking about, his name is Harold Starks. He's from Harlem, New York. He came up as got into an academic program seeking better academic opportunities for kids. He was a very good student, and they shipped him up here to Boston to go to prep school. He ended up becoming an absolutely terrific player, the best player in the school's history, and earned a scholarship to Providence College. And the reason I bring that up is because it was at his own playing career at Providence College that he met Delray Brooks. They were never teammates. They were never teammates at Providence per se. Delray had to sit out as transferring in from Indiana back in the 1984-85, I guess. But anyway, so
it would have been 86, 87.
That was the year. That was Delray's big year, and Delray played 2 years, and that was their final 4 year. But he did have to sit out a year. Anyways, the reason why I bring this up is Patrick ended up down in Texas Pan Am coaching for Delray Brooks, literally through his relationship that he had from high school with this kid from very gentleman, really close friend of ours, best friend of the family, who got shipped up to prep school in Boston. So it's really fascinating how it all wound its way down to the Valley.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And guys, through the Harrington family, like I've gotten to know Harold Starks very well, and he's an unbelievable person, and he was a hell of a player. But just a good guy, good professional. He works in college athletics now, so I've gotten to know him. But I got to know him when I was working at Texas Pan Am in 97, 98, whenever I was down there. So.
And Raph, we appreciate that, but don't ever try to fact check LJ again in the middle of the show, okay? Because LJ seems like he's got his stuff together. He knows
got his stuff together.
Right?
Look,
please
I
don't
want to
try
point
to
out
fact
the
check.
shirt, the polo that LJ's got on.
That's what I'm talking about.
That
baby.
is amazing. Look at that. That is a classic polo right there.
Yeah, well, I brought it up early. I brought it up prior to the show when we were prepping. Okay. So I wanted to make sure it was mentioned. Second of all, I want to bring up G's hat because he looks like a shark right now. Like that thing, that's the worst hat I've ever seen.
Wow, man. My mom got me this hat.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
So
You know what? If she watches this show, I'm just gonna tell her forgive Raph, man.
yeah,
Just forgive him.
You
You
look
know,
like a
he knows not
shark
what
right now. I'm looking at you right now. I feel like it's me with a great tan. I feel like there's Matt Palmquist. I feel like it's my guy, LJ, who's one of my favorite humans in the world, wearing a Pan Am shirt. And then I feel like there's a shark attacking me. All right, continue, G.
so let me kind of fast forward a little bit, LJ. What was the phone call like when you get the call from Coach Harrington and he says, "Hey, I'm going down to the Valley to coach with Delray"? What did you think? And you ever heard of the Valley? Like, and you ever heard of Texas Pan American? Like, I kind of want to get an insight into, like,
Yeah.
oh, Lord Patrick, what the hell did you get yourself
Yeah.
into? Like,
So there wasn't. So what happened is Patrick at that time had been. Well, first of all, he was a commercial real estate broker here in Boston, showing property and leasing and so forth. And he had a real uh, high interest, a yearning for getting into coaching. So during the mid 90s, he would volunteer over at South Boston High School, where the team won 2 state championships, and he would sneak out of the office and go and help coach the basketball team over there. And they sent a number of kids to Division I schools, and that was his first kind of getting his feet wet with deciding whether or not he wanted to get into coaching a little more seriously. Then he had an opportunity to take over a junior college here in Brookline, Massachusetts, called Newberry College, and he was appointed the head coach. Left the commercial real estate business, kind of decided to go 2 feet in on coaching, and started at Newberry College, where he got off to a very good start as a coach. And knowing that he really wanted to work his way up the ladder. Patrick was a real, I'd say I don't want to say he's a schemer. He was a planner. I never really gave him credit to his face in person, but he was really one of these guys that was always playing chess rather than checkers, as far as managing as far as thinking about his own career, where he wanted to get to be. It wasn't like he was going to jump in and take the first job that came his way, but he really was trying to look to position himself to become a college basketball coach at the highest level. And he was able to work his, Delray, Kentucky came off of a national championship. Delray was the assistant coach to Rick Pitino at the time, and then he got the Texas Pan Am job. And then Patrick went into a full court press on our friend Harold Starks, who I mentioned earlier, for him to push to get Patrick himself hired down at Texas Pan Am. It really didn't matter where the job. Patrick was like a lot of ambitious coaches. He wanted to go where the opportunity was. So many young coaches today that I talk to really, they don't want to leave their comfort zone. But Patrick was smart enough to realize that if you want to go anywhere in a business, you need to go where the opportunity is, and then everything else will take care of itself if you do a good job. So he literally bet on himself, and was able to get the job as Delray's second assistant. He hired George Morgan, who was a friend of his, naturally, and then he was able to leverage the relationship with Harold to get appointed the second assistant coach down there.
Yeah.
And then he packed up and went down there. And then subsequent to that, he gets a call from Leo Papil, who's a big AAU guy up here in Boston with the BABC, pushing him to take on Rafferty as a charity case. And
they downgraded with that charity case. That's right, LJ.
Hey, you know what? Everything LJ's saying is correct, but G, you got to
Don't
stop
fact check.
talking.
It's
No,
correct.
no.
Let's just leave it there.
No,
It's correct.
It
was a charity case.
This is all correct. Everything LJ's saying is correct.
That's right.
Okay.
Correct.
But if you're gonna keep laughing or talking,
Yeah.
you gotta take that hat off because or do something
I agree,
different
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, you're
That
right.
thing's like
Yeah.
you look like a cone head. And I'll apologize to your mother in the morning, but like I'm not
Please do.
going through the
Just send
next
it-
30 minutes of this with
Send her,
that.
send her an email, a letter of apology, please, written,
This thing's
handwritten.
like this
LJ,
thing's like
yeah.
this. I don't even know
Yeah.
it's not a flat brim, it's not a low brim.
Yeah. He's really enamored by my cap. I'm gonna send it to him, by the way, so he can wear it around town. You know, he'll probably.
So one part of the story which really hasn't, I don't think you're familiar with, is that when Patrick took the job, and before they brought on Jeff as the volunteer assistant, I guess at the time, or third guy, Patrick entertained a call from Jeff's mother, who wanted to know whether sending her son down to the valley was a safe thing to do. And
I don't remember
safe?
this.
Was
Yes.
it safe for Valley people or was it safe for Ralph? That's the
Well,
question, right?
that's-
Was it safe for my son Jeff
That's,
Rafferty to go
that's
down?
still hey, that's still
Yes.
that's still to be
Let me help
determined.
you out.
But
Let me help
Yes.
you out.
I didn't
Let me
know
help you
this story.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, you
You
didn't know
look
your
great.
mom
Hey,
called
G,
you?
you look great.
So hold on,
That hat's great, G.
Rap. You
What
didn't
I'm
know that
talking
your
about,
mom called your future boss.
No,
I
I
doubt
had
if
no
it was
idea.
okay
I
to
had
go
no
down
idea
there.
until right now.
Well,
And
let's
LJ and I have had dinner 1,000 times since. And
let's continue,
I didn't know
LJ.
this
Well,
story.
it is a
continue.
little bit embarrassing with you have a helicopter parent back in the 90s. Not today, it'd be normal, but back then these helicopter parents weren't such a big thing. But
Rap, weren't you like 28 with an Irish Rolex? Like what? Like weren't you like? I don't understand. Like that's a whole nother episode. We need to get your mom on the show, Rap. But
She'd love to be on the show. She's in France tonight. I just talked to her. Like,
Okay. Okay.
her and my old man are spending all of my my retirement shit. So
well, okay. So mom calls, asks, "Is it okay for?"
I've never
come
heard
down?
this story. I've never heard this
Okay,
story.
continue.
LJ's had this.
You're-
LJ has had this in his back pocket
He
for
saved it.
28 years, okay?
The right
And I
guy.
named my oldest son Patrick Lawrence Rafferty after the Harrington brothers.
No honor.
Patrick Lawrence Rafferty. And now he's coming out with this story that I've never heard, which I love. I don't care. Like,
He's gonna- You
I think
can
you
call your kid, Rap, and be
continue.
like, "Hey, you need to go get your name changed."
continue, LJ. Continue, LJ.
So anyways,
please,
so Patrick packed up. He had a Ford Bronco.
No,
with
no.
the Eddie Bauer. With the Eddie
No,
Bauer.
he had the Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer. Because
Yeah, Eddie Bauer.
Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer, because whenever he was out of town, I was traveling to Mexico,
Of course.
Yeah, against your mom's
Against your mom's
wishes.
wishes. Yeah. We should have
no,
known.
no question.
Yeah, so he headed down there and jumped right in with Delray and George, and it was his first Division I coaching experience.
In RAF as well, LJ. I mean, let's get this
correct.
clear.
And Delray's first head job. So I guess all of you guys were down there finding your way through this thing with not a lot of success on the floor. Although I think everybody would attest to it being a very, you guys, I'm sure, being a very positive experience. I hope. Certainly, you played against a lot of.
It had its ups and downs. Yeah, it definitely, but I mean, that had nothing to do with Coach Harrington. It was just, there was ups and downs. It was wins and losses. It was traveling on the road. I mean, it was playing time or lack thereof. It was,
LJ, bottom line, we just needed better players. Okay. They walked into a situation where just the players weren't we weren't good enough.
We weren't, we weren't
weren't good
enough for the system.
Yeah.
But Coach Brooks and what Coach Harrington and Coach Morgan Coach
They coached us
Patterson.
up. They tried to coach, man. They coached it up.
When Raph
Yeah.
finally got his permission slip signed by his mom, when Raph came down, like it was they just inherited players that weren't right.
They inherited
that
yeah.
system.
So that was Del Rey's style, and back in the nobody presses like this anymore. Really, a couple teams do, but that was all the rage, and they were very successful at Kentucky with it, and that's what Del Rey knew, and that's what he was going to, that's how he wanted to play.
Yeah.
Was a real high pressure, diamond traps. I have the video. We used to look at the video of them teaching it and everything. So very familiar with how you guys tried to play. And
You did, but Al, now that you're on the show, which this is big time being on this show. But
thank you, Raph.
Now that you know that, thank you for turning your head around too, G.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like having slow-footed guards like G Garza and 7'1" guys like Matt Palmquist that couldn't move at all, like it was probably the wrong system to play.
What
Yeah,
Raph
thanks,
doesn't
Raph.
know.
Thank you for that, bud.
Yeah, what Raph doesn't know, or what he fails to realize, is that I'm gonna have to email his mom to get permission for him to come on the show, and I get final edit anyways, so he might not even make this podcast.
He's definitely not going to make that last comment.
Edit in the calisthenic from the first show.
Yeah,
you guys were great. You guys were like, I've gotten 13 job offers since the first podcast, so this is going to be great.
So I went to your first game, year 2, against Rice University.
Okay.
It was at Rice, and I got to sit courtside next to the voice of the Bronx, John King. He handed me a headset, and he said, "Hey, listen, feel free to chime in if there's anything you want to say," and which was great. He was a super guy. So I put the headset on. It was opening night, and for the opening night of the season. And before I could blink, you guys were down 10-0, and I had to put the headset away. I didn't say anything. Well, he got on. He goes, "This is year 2 of the Del Rey Brooks era. Coach Brooks says this is not going to be anything like the last year." And then before I looked up, you're down 10-0. I was like, "Oh, jeez."
He had to say that. Yeah.
We had him right where we wanted him. What are you talking about?
Yeah. 80-40 was the score.
And then Al, how about this? Then they traveled to Providence, and I met him for team breakfast before I played Eastern Connecticut the next day because I was back at Springfield.
Yes, I remember that very well. That was a lot of guarantee games that year, which they needed.
That's
I don't know why.
That's all we played. That wasn't fair though. Honestly, guys talking about college basketball today, when Matt and G Garza played at Pan Am, that year that Del Rey took over, they were in the Sun Belt but were becoming independent. So we had to make X amount of dollars. So we played 13 guarantee games. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So these guys went through things that they shouldn't have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great experience. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of those games we were competitive, especially that second year, my junior year. If you look back on some of those box scores, they came up as L's, right? But we were favored against Baylor. We were, we took Gonzaga to, to the line, so it wasn't we were just getting blown out every night. We could compete with the big boys. It just
absolutely. And what I was going to say is there was also a game there where you won it with only 5 players. I remember that. I remember Patrick.
Tech, yeah.
You only had 5 players, and then you also, the other one I remember was Kirby Lemons, his first game on the road. He forgot his sneakers. My mother was there, and she had to go to Dick's, some sporting goods store, to get him sneakers because he forgot to
Which Al, you can't mention this on the podcast because back in the day that would have been an NCAA violation. Today, hey, listen, today I have a trunk full of sneakers for whoever needs them. I got them for L, I got them for G Garza, I got them for Matt Blomquist, I got them for my kids.
Patrick,
Back in the day, that was a
my,
violation, but yes.
Yeah, Patrick sent my mother out to the sporting goods store to get Kirby sneakers so he could play in the game.
It's amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That is man, I never knew that story, So that's insane, So obviously Coach Harrington moved on, right?
Yep.
From Pan Am, and I think he went out to Utah, or did he go to New Orleans first?
He actually referred to it as from worst to first, that experience, because they had all gotten let go back in August, going into the next year. There was the
it was late because of was it late? Hey, Al, was it late? Because I remember being in the Springfield College basketball office doing my graduate degree in coaching Division III basketball at my alma mater. But I remember somebody calling me. It was late, right?
Yeah.
Well,
was it Southern Utah?
Yeah, so it was late August. They got let go. Patrick, true to his character, bit the bullet on the whole situation and remained loyal to Delray, and he didn't do he just pulled the old know nothing, see nothing, and went out for a whole year out of coaching, and then was able to the following year land at Southern.
So Utah. He was out. He was out for a year.
Yes.
Okay.
99.
I forgot that part of it.
Yeah, okay. But he lived down in the valley and stayed there the whole time. I actually went to visit, played your Tierra Santa. Is that your golf
Tierra
course
Santa
down
golf?
There? Yeah, terrific. Yeah,
and he met his wife down there, right?
No, he met her. Good point though. Good memory. So he met her at a Final Four. And so she was a basketball coach at the time at Kansas State as an assistant coach, but she moved down there the year he was out of coaching, and then in fact he got married, and his oldest daughter Kelly, who's out of college now 2 years, was born in McAllen, so she's grew up in the valley, and then the three of them from there. Moved up to Cedar City, Utah, which is where Southern Utah is, and true to form, Patrick landed in an absolutely spectacular situation with a very senior laden team there, and they won the Mid-Continent Conference at the time. They played at Fort Wayne, Indiana, which was another crazy conference with schools all over the place, but they made the NCAA tournament. And then from there, he was able to parlay that. I'll tell you a funny story in a second, but he was able to parlay that into an interview with Monty Tao at the University of New Orleans, which he eventually went to and coached there for 4 or 5 years. And the situation in that case was
he was there that long, Al?
Yeah.
Was he really?
So it was as Billy Donovan, who also was at Providence with Delray and my friend Harold Starks, was a relationship that Patrick leveraged very well, and they became good friends. But it was Billy Donovan who put the call in for Patrick to get the job at University of New Orleans. So he goes down there, and he goes down there for an interview. It all gets done, fine, everything. He calls me from the airport after he interviewed with Monty Tao for the University of New Orleans job. And I said, hey, Patrick, how'd it go? He goes, oh, great. He goes, I hit the ball out of the park. It went really well until we got to, we're driving to the airport, and I decided to tell him that you and I, when we were kids, we would play one-on-one in the backyard, and that you, Monty, were LJ's favorite player. Monty was 5'7", 5'6", point guard at North Carolina State. Used to throw the alley-oops up to
Thompson.
David Thompson, and they won
Yeah.
a national championship in 1974. Anyways, I was really thrilled that Patrick was interviewing with what was my idol back in junior high school. So Patrick,
Wow.
stupid enough that he is, says to Monty, well, LJ and I played one-on-one, and you know, I was Phil Ford. Now Phil Ford was the
North Carolina.
absolute enemy of North Carolina. He was at University of North Carolina and North Carolina State. They were just tremendous competitors, hated each other. And so Patrick says, well, I used to be Phil Ford and LJ was you, and we played one-on-one in the backyard. And I said, okay, well, what happened, Patrick? He goes, well, before I got out of the car, he said, maybe I should hire LJ. And he slammed the door on him.
Wow.
Love that.
And
Wow.
that is so like true.
I love that. I love that. This is why we do this podcast, right? To hear stories
Yeah.
like that. That's amazing. Coach Harrington, you know, Coach Harrington was always the guy that would kind of you knew he was sincere, but he would always pull you aside and try to give you like nuggets of wisdom, right? And
Sure.
and he couldn't really tell you. He had to like show you, you know, like when he was expressing something, like you got, you know. And so it was one of those things where I really.
So what are you saying, Matt? He wasn't as good of a demonstrator
No,
as I
I'm
was.
just-
like in episode,
Yeah,
in
Raph.
episode 1.
No,
we
let me
talked
finish,
about my
Raph. Like, I was
demonstration
just-
skills.
I was just
Raph was absolute elite with his demonstrations.
yes. I was just saying that I was remembering
Gannon Baker elite.
and the way he would talk to you, and he got the point across. And I just really cherished the time because Coach Harrington was always honest with you, always upfront with you,
Yeah.
very direct, very blunt, but you knew he cared about you, you know. And
Hey,
so
Matt,
came
that's
from a place of
that's the
love.
thing. And LJ, and I don't want to cut you off, Matt, and I want you to continue. But LJ's on the show, and you're absolutely positively right with Patrick.
yeah,
And I grew up just south of Boston, and that's like a Boston quality. Like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been all over the country. I've been all over the world. LJ's one of the finest human beings I've ever met. And Patrick was that guy too.
yeah.
And that's
it was.
the truth. So I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I was just going on about like what he meant to me, you know,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
I interrupted. It's just one of those things where it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, what he meant to me. And I'm having the opportunity to tell his brother
Yeah.
what I never got to
Yeah.
tell really Coach Harrington,
Him.
you know?
Right.
And so, you know, in some it's therapeutic for me in a sense
Yeah.
that now
It's
know how I
therapeutic
felt
for
about
me,
him.
and it's
Yeah.
therapeutic for me and LJ as well,
Yeah.
to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I'll tell you one thing that I really enjoyed during practices. In the beginning of practice, we'd get in a circle, right? And we'd be stretching. And, you know, usually we're laying down, we're stretching, you know, right leg over left, left over left, whatever. And that was when I really enjoyed Coach Harrington's communication, man. Like he'd go to every single person
Yeah.
and talk to them about non-basketball things. It was like, hey, how's everything going? Good. Class? Good. Yeah. How's the girl situation?
Yeah.
You
And you
in
know
the
what?
wisdom.
Hey, G,
Always
you know
spin
what
the
I do
whistle.
now? Gee, I do the same thing. I've done the same thing for the last 28 seasons
Because of that.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And I
Like I
remember
walk around, like we
Yeah.
circle up, and then they, you know, the whatever they call them, athletic trainers,
Yeah.
stretch them out, and then I walk around and I make sure every guy's good.
Yeah,
and it's because
man, that's what he did.
and it's because of Patrick. No,
That's
no
what he did.
kidding.
Yeah. And like I just remember one instance, man. He it was a long night for me, you know. I mean, it was a 5 a.m. practice.
You were in study hall.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I was in
And you're-
study hall till
and
about
you're out drinking with Matt Palmquist
till about-
until
till
3
about
a.m. Yeah,
I was in
no,
study
I
hall,
get it.
Mom.
4 a.m. And I think you could tell, you could
And
tell.
I was probably out with Patrick until 4:30. Like we
Exactly.
probably rolled in right from the
Yeah.
bar in flip flops. Yeah, I get it.
And he goes, "How long? How long was it? How long did you stay out?" I was like, "Shit, man, just rolling in." He goes, "Well, you better up and you better up and bring it." I said, "All right, man." So
I do the same things now.
Yeah.
28 years
Yeah.
later.
You better up and bring it, man. I don't care how late you stayed out. Just bring it.
So LJ,
Never forget that, man.
LJ, so he had his daughter Kelly and McAllen, and then he went on to have two more kids?
Yeah, so he's got 3 children. Kelly's the oldest. She works down in Florida near Clearwater for a social service organization, graduated from Florida Gulf Coast. The middle one is Patrick, my godchild, and he graduated from University of Kentucky, and he's in the financial services business up in Philadelphia. And then the youngest one, Catherine, or Lulu as they call her, is graduated from high school a couple of years ago, and she's working in Niceville, Florida, which is home to Northwest Florida State College, which is where he was coaching women at the time.
Yeah.
So she lives there and works as a sort of as an au pair right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I remember having dinner once with Coach Harrington after he got let go, and he was still living in McAllen, and
Yep.
we met at what was it called? It was Applebee's right there on 10th Street. And I met and had, like, because he lived like right in that area right there. And it was great. It was great to see him, and it was just Coach Harrington was the best.
By the way, that Applebee's must have been his favorite restaurant down there. He took me there when I came to visit, and I'd never seen an Applebee's. That place was like a nightclub. I never saw an Apple. That's not like Applebee's that we have up here at all.
It's not a regular Applebee's, man.
No, we used to drive to work. I didn't have a car. Like Delray was paying my whatever $300 rent with Jason Patterson at the time. And so I'd have to wake Patrick up every morning. And one morning we woke up and we left our apartment complex, and there was police, whatever they call them, lines around the whole Applebee's. It's the same.
It was a crime scene.
It was a crime scene. And by the time we got home from work, they found a dead guy's body in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Al, Pat and I, Patrick and I had been in there the night before. And I think we both might have been dating waitresses from the spot. I don't even
I'm pretty sure.
I'm assuming your mom never found out about the dead body in the trunk, because she would have asked for you to come home.
This is great.
We're not gonna let you live that down. LJ,
you gotta come home, Mijo. You gotta come home.
Mijo.
No, my parents loved what was it? It wasn't Corpus Christi. What's the other one? The other
South Padre.
Yeah, South Padre.
Yeah.
So whenever my parents came down, we'd spend a day or two down at South Padre. Yeah. South Padre was great. It was great to my parents. It was certainly great to me and Patrick.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, is Doug Duff still involved with the program in any way? Remember him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Doug Duff. Wow.
I'm not sure exactly what happened to Doug. Like,
we gotta find out.
I don't know. We'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure, but that's a really good question.
He'd be a good guest.
We'll see. We're gonna have to track that guy.
We're gonna have to track him down.
Yeah.
But I can't thank you enough, LJ, for joining the show and just kind of reminiscing and telling Patrick's story. And we all four of us loved him, and he was an unbelievably great man and kind soul and genuine. And that's That's what I can say
Mhm.
about Coach Harrington.
Oh, that's great. Well,
And that-
thank you very much. I'm extremely touched by both of you and what your experiences and how you felt about Patrick. Sometimes I get a little choked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Understood. Yeah.
And by the way, I was also I listened to your podcast with Lalo, and that one really hit home.
Oh man.
That one, I almost had to pull off the road, frankly, because
Yeah.
I had no idea that he felt that way about Patrick. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Coach Harrington tried to get Lalo to go work for him in Utah and in New Orleans. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows, man.
Has he ever been out of the valley other than to play games with
No.
Pan Am?
Maybe San Antonio. Hey, LJ, Lalo went to San Antonio one time, and then we got lost coming back to the valley. Yeah,
Yeah. They
went
ended
to
up in Laredo.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to let you know, that's how.
He
That's
likes
Lalo right
likes
there.
his little fishbowl, so he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Oh, good. Before I let you guys go, do you mind if we do a little this or that?
Oh, this
Oh
is
my goodness.
Oh my God!
Oh
yeah.
wow, this is an exclusive.
This is like-
is
What?
this a podcast exclusive from Al?
This is like, yeah. Somebody
Who's
did
gonna
their
answer
homework.
Who's going to
man.
answer?
Yeah, let's do some this or that.
All right. Bill Belichick or Tom Landry?
Tom Landry.
Belichick.
Landry, come on, guys.
JFK or LBJ?
Hold on one sec. Did you know that Tom Landry was from Mission, Texas, down in the valley?
No.
No,
Didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yes, and the stadium is named after him. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Tom
awesome.
Landry.
What stadium?
The Mission
state-
High School,
Yeah.
Stadium. It's named, yeah.
Right next to McAllen, right
Yep.
there.
How
right
did
next to
how
Edinburgh.
did I not know that?
Tom Landry Stadium.
Belichick's a better coach than Tom.
I did not know that, but that's pretty coincidental. Tom Landry.
Yeah.
Great,
What was the second question?
great. As I said on the last podcast I was on, Matt knocked it out of the park with one question. L, you just knocked it out of the park with that question.
He did.
That was
He did.
good. Yeah.
All right.
Go for
JFK or LBJ?
Okay.
I gotta go with JFK because I share a birthday with him.
Mhm.
Frank's hot sauce or Texas Pete's?
Frank's.
Oh, Frank's.
I'll go with Frank's.
You guys, so you two guys who claim to be Texans are like
Yeah, no.
just totally shitting on your hot sauce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We're even
Solar
pastry
or
sauce
shale?
Solar or shale? I'm gonna go, since I'm from Texas, I'm gonna go shale. You gotta go oil. Yeah.
I'm going Shell. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I coach college basketball.
what-
I'll go with Shale. I go with Shale because these are my two
You can-
guys.
Text your mom.
Yeah, we're up here in New England and we're anti-fossil fuels, so that's why I had to ask you. Last one: Pudge Fisk or Pudge Rodriguez?
Oh, Pudge Rodriguez. Come on.
Oh, come
Pudge
on.
Fisk. Pudge
I
Fisk. It's
gotta
not
go-
even. It's not even close, Al.
I gotta go
It's
with
not.
Yo, I was in my mother's. I was in my mother's arms in '76 when he hit the ball over the fucking.
you've been in
green
your
line.
mother's
Come
arms
on.
since you've been in your mother's arms since '96. What are you
I
talking about?
gotta go with my Latino guy though, man.
I gotta go with Fisk. What he did with those socks, you just
Yeah.
like he was a gamer. So I gotta go with
Hey,
Fisk.
hey, before we go though, Raph, just pay homage to Goodwill Hunting and say, hey, we had LJ on the show. How do you like them apples? Say it,
Yeah.
please.
I mean, you guys have no idea. Like, and I've said this on the last episode. Patrick meant a whole lot to me, and LJ does as well.
Yep.
And I, my son just graduated as a Marine sniper, and I have a Marine Corps hat on right now.
Yep.
That's
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
awesome. Well, Patrick meant the world to you.
No, and I named my
LJ.
first son
Yeah.
after Patrick and LJ.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is real life shit, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
they were both great friends to me, and they are, you know, and I'm so proud of my
Beautiful.
son, and those two guys were big parts of my life.
That's beautiful, Raph. That's
Well,
the
thank you
only
for
part.
sharing, man. Seriously.
That's the only part that your face is going to be just that part. You're not going to be on the rest of the podcast. I'm just going to show you on that part.
We're gonna leave. Yeah, we're gonna leave that in. But
That's
Raph,
it.
man, thanks for talking through the heart, man. And LJ, again, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And we love Patrick, man. We love you, and you all are welcome to come back anytime to this Saddle Up podcast. It was a blessing to have both of y'all on. And man, we wish you the best. We wish your families the best. And thank you for everything.
Thank you very
Great.
much. I really enjoyed it, and it's a pleasure speaking with you guys. Keep
Yeah.
up the great work.
Thank you. All right.
Appreciate it.
All right,
So
guys.
then, V's up.
Peace out, baby.
Get that permission slip, baby.
Like, we weren't supposed to come up with something this clean. You know, like, something happened.